You have now tuned into Insight Sundays, the show that brings you relevant news, youth topics with a new mission and focus for our communities. Here is your host, Adrian Mickens.
What's going on, Indianapolis? It's your main man, Adrian Mickens, once again with another edition of Insight Sundays presented by Harambe Productions. As always, we have to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, which are Andrew J. Brown Academy, Indiana Christian Leadership Conference, or ICLC, Buttons and Bows Hair Salon, Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus, New Vision Lighthouse Ministries, Lighthouse Academy Charter Schools, Vitality Bowls, Sam Ash Music Store, and Beach Grove Bible Church. All right, Indianapolis, as always, if you would like to tune in with the broadcast, please tune in with us on Facebook Live. Once again, that's Facebook Live at Insight Sundays, or you can catch us on Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat, all at the title of Insight Sundays. In the house today, we have a great, phenomenal organization in the city by the name of Inner Beauty. Ladies, would you like to introduce yourselves? We can start here and work our way around.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Crystal Hines from the Inner Beauty Program. I'm the president and CEO.
All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Tiffany Robinson, and I am the newly Director of Life Coach Operations for Inner Beauty.
All right. So let's just dive right into it, ladies. Let's actually start off for what today is about, and that is the pageant that you guys have coming up in the month of March. So before we get into what the organization is and how it came about, let everybody know what this pageant is and when it's going to be and where it's going to be, the time, everything.
All right. Well, we are going into our 14th annual Inner Beauty Pageant, which is Saturday, March 18th at 5 p.m. Doors open at 4:45, just right before the show. We're at the Athenaeum Theater down on Michigan Street.
Okay. All right. So let's just start off with this. How did the pageant even come about? I know you said this is the 14th annual. So year one, how did that even come about?
How much time do you have?
We got 30 minutes.
All right. Well, way back in 2002, I was a bridal consultant, and I was working at a bridal shop that had all these elegant dresses, and they would mark these gowns that were $200 and $300 down to like $10 and $20. And I just started buying them all. And I was a college student. I was studying to be a teacher. I taught like youth Bible study. I was the choir director. I was the Sunday school teacher for the youth. And I was thinking, what can I do with these dresses for my youth at church? And so I just thought to do the pageant, do a pageant. But I had been a former pageant girl.
Okay.
And I knew the life, and I knew that the first year that I did the pageant, it was awesome. It was just all lights and glamour, and everything was just wonderful. I was super duper slim. I had light blue contacts. I had super long hair weave, and I was just told I was the poster person for pageants. So everybody that came up to me said, "You're just a shoo-in. We just know you're going to win." And they were right. I placed. I was in the court. I felt wonderful.
Okay.
I came back the next year because I wanted to place again, but came back a little different. I was 25 pounds heavier, and I had taken out the weave and taken out the contacts. I had joined the BSA, Black Student Association of my college, and I was so much more real. And my answers that I had in my interview were so real.
Authentic.
You know, I went from world peace to equality.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to hear that.
Yeah.
So they didn't look at me
It's
twice.
truth.
I was no longer a shoo-in.
Yeah.
I was no longer the poster person. I was like, get that girl off the stage. That one right there with the bun. Get her off the stage.
Oh, they got real descriptive then when the truth started coming out.
Yeah.
But no, that's okay. That's awesome. And, I'm glad that you have something. People always respect people who have done something that they're trying to do more. And it's not like you just put this together just because you thought it was a great idea. No, you've experienced it, the ups, the downs, what it takes to be successful in this industry, because to me, as from a male standpoint, I know it's a pageant. My mother used to model years back in the early 90s, so I'm kind of familiar with that industry a little bit, and I've seen, young ladies, at the time, 20, 21, 22, those young ladies, who's trying to find their way into the industry. They need to have good mentors, like yourself, showing them the correct way, because after the pageant is over, they may decide to do this, as a career.
Absolutely.
And one of my biggest things that I have an issue with all the time, and this is just entertainment as a whole, which is it's a form of entertainment. They take advantage, of the young ladies, meaning, I want you to do something for me, or we're going to send you somewhere like to New York or something, and then they have to pay for the airlines, or they have to pay for this, or they have to pay for that. But wait a minute, I'm confused. I thought I was working for you, you know? So, I mean, unless it's something in the industry that I'm missing, is that incorrect or correct with that?
We're not on that side of it.
Okay.
So what we are trying to do is train our young ladies to be something other than what the industry and what the media is trying to make them to be.
Gotcha.
And which is why we're called the inner beauty pageant. So for as beautiful as they might be on the outside, or as beautiful as what they might hear or people might think they're supposed to be, we're focused on all the inner attributes. And so everything that we have designed curriculum-wise is all to build character and life skills and what it's like to be a virtuous young woman.
And I'm going to swing around here just a second. How did the name of Inner Beauty come about? It's always a good story to hear how the name came about. So why Inner Beauty? Because it's so powerful.
Well, just as I was mentioning, when I was in the pageant, I knew that the second year that I was doing it, I knew they didn't look at me because of the changes that I made on the outside and just some of the changes I had made on the inside as well. And so I wanted my girls to know that they could be a size 2, a 22, they could be light, dark, whatever, and they could still be part of this pageant. And it didn't have to focus on who everyone was looking at, but really who people saw them to be through their inside out.
All right. Now, Miss Tiffany, what came across your heart to join the organization? You know, because I know you got a hefty title there. So was you wanting to join for something else? And they was like, I see we got a bigger vision for you. Was that how it was? And you wanted to come in and do something else? How did that work out?
Well, I started as a life coach, but if I can step back a little bit.
Absolutely.
I actually began Inner Beauty with my girls.
Okay.
So in the early years of Inner Beauty, Miss Crystal was a teacher for my oldest daughter.
Okay.
And she handpicked her for whatever reasons to come and join. And so my daughter was able to grow and flourish and eventually become a virtuous young woman by being a part of Inner Beauty. I can just even remember the times back at pageant time when Miss Crystal said no parents allowed in the back. And I just couldn't help myself. I had to be back there. I had to do the makeup. I had to do the hair, not just for my daughter, but also for the other young ladies who didn't have mothers there to support them. And so eventually Miss Crystal said, you know, I can't get rid of you. So why don't you just come on and join our team?
Join the board. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's how I came about.
All right. Well, I'm going to swing it back around. And we're 14 years in, or is it just as long as the past? So 14 years of the program Inner Beauty as a whole. So out of 14 years, have you seen the young ladies evolve? You know, there's a lot that can change in a decade. You know, so what's the challenges that you've seen 10 years prior to what you see till today?
Well, when you talk about the evolution of our girls, I just want to tell you that our girls reproduce themselves. And so they started as these really shy young ladies 14 years ago. Our very first pageant young lady is now our office manager. Beautiful mom, beautiful soul. She's a dental instructor, so she teaches young ladies and young men to be dental hygienists and dental assistants, and she's also a dental assistant herself. And so seeing her go from this very shy, very passive young lady to just blossom into a leadership position and just really rocking her role as being a mom. And it doesn't just stop with her. A lot of our young ladies come right back and they begin to instruct, and they become life coaches and mentors for these other girls. If their schedules don't allow for them to do it full time, they always give back in some type of way. And so I love that. If they're dance instructors, if they come back to be tutors, if they come back to work in the office,
share their
clean,
stories.
share their stories, absolutely. All of that. It just shows the evolution of our girls.
So within Inner Beauty itself, like adjacent from the pageant, is there like a location that you guys have where it's just like a development center for different things? Like if you want to, almost like a trade school, but not as big as a trade school. That's kind of what it is, where they can learn how to do different things? Absolutely.
The pageant is just a 3-month program, so it focuses on etiquette and the glamour and again,
that's a whole thing before the actual day comes. It's like a whole big
my
thing.
That's just 3 months.
Sure.
But we have
awesome.
A full year program, and our full year program, we're drilling our character education and our crime prevention and our life skills training and life skills development, our education and our tutoring. We're like really training our young ladies to be virtuous on a serious level. We meet on Thursday nights out of Indy Met High School.
Okay.
from 7 to 8:30. We've got lots of guest speakers that come in there, and we do a lot of training and development. We do breakout sessions, things like that. And then on a more ongoing basis for our life coaching, we work with kids that are in DCS and kids that are in juvenile probation on a daily basis. And so we've got lots and lots of kids that go through our 46 and College Center where they learn art, and we have a whole life skills curriculum, and they learn how to cook, and we have a small makeshift studio in the basement so they can do spoken word and song and rap. We've got a cosmetology room. We have a place where they can just hang out, watch movies, read books, read magazines, that type of deal.
Yes. I mean, it's almost like you guys have it's like an inner beauty boys and girls. I won't say boys and girls. I mean, unless you guys do things for the young men. I'm not exactly for sure or not. But I know specifically with the young ladies, it sounds like you guys have an inner girls club where they can go, if I want to say if they're in trouble or not, but just an outlet. And, with the youth today, I always say they just need something to do. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
Like boredom is the worst thing. It's worse than drugs. To a teenager, it's worse than drugs. You can get in a lot of trouble when you're bored and you have a lot of idle time. So sports is good. Doing things that you guys have is good. The whole 9 yards. Let me ask you this question. Other than like the self-value programs, do you guys have anything that teaches about finance? Because that is one of the most biggest killers of all. We can teach about the fun part of the industry, how to do things correct, how to meet the right people, how to talk, and different things like that. But it's hard because nobody teaches about the financial part of the industry and then as a whole about life. Do you guys teach about finances there?
We are trying to hit these girls in a super well-rounded way. And so, yes, we do. One of our mentors is actually the manager of one of the banks here in Indy. I won't say the name of the bank, but her name is Nikki, and she does teach our financial development. In addition to that, you did bring up the boys, and the way that our brother program started, which is under the direction of my husband, Kareem Hines, as our new boy program. It was a financial development program. And so we do have a dual programming. It's for boys and for girls, ages 8 to 18. And we do slide some mature 6 and 7-year-olds in there as well.
Gotcha.
But we absolutely teach financial development. One of the trips that we take, because we take college tours and out-of-state trips every year. But one of our most popular ones is our New York State trip. And we go to New York City and we go to Wall Street, and we really focus on all those things that the banking world and the marketing world and all that stuff has, to offer for everybody.
All right. So at this time, once again, we thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you are still tuning in with us on Facebook at Insight Sundays. Again, you can catch this live on Facebook at Insight Sundays. We're going to take a break here in just a second. And I forgot to mention too as well, just a reminder, you can catch us on Instagram, Snapchat, or Twitter at Insight Sundays. And we will see you guys back here in just a second. Welcome back, Indianapolis. It's your main man, Adrian Mickens, once again for the second half of Insight Sundays, here with Inner Beauty. And as always, once again, if you want to catch this live, tune in with us on Facebook at Insight Sundays. Once again, that is Facebook at Insight Sundays. So I'm going to swing back over here to Crystal. If a mentor would like to be a part of what you guys got going on, is there like a certain criteria that they have to go through, or a special training process? How does that work? Because I can tell that you only want to give quality to the young lady. So how does that work?
Absolutely, we want quality. First of all, you have to have a heart for children.
Okay.
There are many opportunities for financial support and things like that. Many opportunities to get paid in mentoring right now. It's all like a buzzword. We don't want that. If you come for a job, I always say, don't come here. Don't come to Inner Beauty and New Boy. If you come because you love kids and you want to help develop them and help to make them better and make our future stronger, then by all means come to us. We do all of our orientation and training. We do, rigorous background checking. You have to do several hours of shadowing, and you have to mesh very well with the group. We have a awesome group of life coaches. We call ourselves a sisterhood, and we celebrate with one another. We love one another. We joke, and we even chastise one another. And you have to be able to mesh well with that in order to be a part of the mentoring program.
Absolutely. Like what you said, that I won't necessarily say that you have to do the screening part, but the part that you mentioned about you have to have a heart for children. You really do. You know, we talk about a lot about education, you know, on this show, and about how a lot of teachers are engaged in classrooms, but they're not engaged with the student. Just because you went to college and learned the educational portion of it, you need to now learn how to articulate it to be able to reach out to these students. And what are you doing to actually do that? And that's the same thing as a mentor, which is what we talked about before. You can't teach anybody something that you haven't done. And haven't done meaning specifically by experience. Have you done this? Because children know, and they know a phony. And in this day and age, we live in a call you out, whether they do it to your face or whether they do it by social media.
That's
they
right.
are
Can
going
I chime in right
absolutely,
there?
absolutely.
Right there. We do several activities with our young ladies, but one of the things that I feel is so powerful is that Miss Crystal will put signs up on the wall during our group sessions, and they come with several life events and life challenges, like I was molested, or I was raped, or I used to sell drugs. And so then we have the girls go and identify who that particular event belongs to. And it's just amazing that they have such a hard time with that, because they don't see us as those people we used to be.
How do the other young, and you mean it specifically for you all? You guys do that to show them
That's
what
right.
I see. So how do how do they react to that when they actually see, like, man, I thought you was like,
it's definitely,
and it's like, you actually really did that?
Yeah,
like,
it's shock and awe. It is definitely shock and awe for them.
Like,
Yeah, they always assume that when we put the signs up that we're talking about them. And they're like, girl, did you do that? And there's one that shocks them every time. It says, I've been shot before. And who in here got shot? And they're looking around to see which other youth was shot. And when they find out it was my mother, who's like, you know, the most Martha Stewart person in there. Mom, I know you're listening. I love you. But when they find out that it was her and that she's still living and she's still going on, she's not gangish, you know, she's not walking around all hard and tough, but that she loves them and she wants to teach them and train them. It's like, oh, so we don't have to stay like this?
Exactly. You have to see the mirror the reflection that you would like to be. And if they see us being transparent, that will make them open up and be more transparent about what's going on, you know, in their lives. So speaking of that, what's some challenges that your husband, you know, may go through? Well, I call them growth challenges, because the whole process is for them to get better. So what are some of the growth challenges that your husband has experienced working with the young men in today's society, you know, who already has 2 stripes against them, you know, already? How does that work out for him?
Well, just, you know, with our pillow talk, one of the biggest issues is that they're fatherless. And not just fatherless, but I mean, even if there's a stepdad in the home or somebody there, they're not rearing them. They're not really like walking in the way that they should to be, you know, upright men. And so it's really hard to rewire a young man who's seen the wrong thing all his life. And so that's one of the biggest challenges is, where's your dad? You know, what? And then they have to step in, and there's a lack of trust for men, because mom has been the only one there, or grandma has been the only one there. And so now I'm supposed to follow you. I'm supposed to believe in what you're doing. And then it's also the thing of, if you're an upright man or a Christian man, then you must be corny. You know, we don't want to follow you. What do you do? And so they really have to, in their leader circles on Wednesday nights at Indy Met at 6:30, they have to really break the boys down and really get to the root. And after they break them all the way down, then they build them all the way back up. And so once they see that being, like I said, an upright man, a Christian man, is not corny and it's not, you know, the out thing to do, but that they can really make something of themselves, I think that that's when the rewiring starts.
You know, as a man myself, but putting myself into a young man's position, I understand that it takes that's why I asked you, how hard was it for your husband to break through with him? Because as a man, we hold things internally, you know, and it takes us a lot longer to share what's going on in our life. Thus, for, you know, as a woman, not to be biased on it, but it takes a lot longer for a young man to open up to say what's going on, you know, in his life. And so for your husband to stay persistent and diligent with them, that's kudos to him, seriously, because it is hard to break through. with young men, especially who's going through challenges, and especially at home, where a lot of them start off at 14 and 15 when they're able to be a bag boy at the grocery store to being a small breadwinner, you know, at the house just helping out mom, and they put that burden, you know, on that back. It's a lot of different issues with that, but that's just one of them that I hear the most, that I see teenagers, you know, and this was an eye-opening experience to me once I started kind of working with the youth and different things like that. You know, I didn't know that they were, you know, working jobs at 17 and 18 to help mom provide for family. You know, I thank my parents to today. You know, I was, as they say, spoiled because I grew up in a 2-parent household, and I seen things differently. You know, I seen my dad, he taught me how to tie when I was 8. Things that I take for granted, you know, when you go in for a job interview, that's like tying my shoe. But when I actually seen that there were young men my age, you know, I'll be 30 this year, who don't even know how to tie a tie. Like, it's like, I looked at it funny, and then once I actually began to see, this was years back when I began to work with them, I said, man, I see where the help is needed now.
I agree.
It's sad, but I see where it is.
It is so powerful to go in and see the work that the men are doing with these young men. Just to see them wearing ties to court instead of pants sagging, or seeing them stand up before their peers and saying the mantra, or saying what I'm going to be in the future. My future has changed. It is so powerful.
Absolutely.
And also I want to mention, mirroring what the pageant does, they do a night of sophistication, and they come out and they're in suits and they're in ties and they're stomping and they're proclaiming affirmations and proclaiming better things over their lives and their future. And like Miss Tiffany mentioned, their mantras. They have several mantras that tell them what they should be, you know, and not what they have been told on paper, you know, if they're on probation, or what their future looks like if they're in DCS. So that is a powerful program that they do that empowers young men.
All right. So is there any sponsors that you guys want to give a shout out to who helps the organization of Inner Beauty at all? Don't know?
Well, I definitely want to say that DCS is huge in our inner beauty life.
Okay.
DCS, juvenile probation, child advocates is very huge. We've got churches that help sponsor us, New Destiny and Life Community. We've got Indy Met, who help sponsor us as well, that give us a place to go. Yep, the People's Church, forgive me. Pastor Eli, yes, absolutely. We've got several big sponsors, and then we've got a lot of contributors that just come from all over the community that love what we're doing. And I wouldn't be able to name every contributor that we have, but oh my gosh, we've got a support system that is out of this world.
That's awesome. And last but not least, if anybody wants to get in contact with you all, whether it's to be a young lady a part of the program, or the young men's program, or just to join the organization to be a mentor, where do they find you guys at? How do they submit the information?
Well, they can call me personally.
All right.
317-833-5810. Or they can see us online at www.myinnerbeautyprogram.org, and they can catch the young men at www.newbreedofyouth.org.
All right. And for our youth, all the social media stuff?
We are on Facebook. We have a group called Inner Beauty Pageant and Program, and then just our overall page is Inner Beauty Program, Inc. And our boys are New Breed of Youth. All right. On Facebook.
All right. So in about 30 seconds, a quick mission statement that you would give to young ladies in the city of Indianapolis. What would you say inspiring to them?
I would probably say, you know, find yourself a leader, somebody that you look up to. Take heed to what they've gone through and their experiences. Listen to them and let them guide you, because it's difficult to do that thing alone.
Right. And yourself, Crystal?
I'd say get all the free education that you can get.
Amen.
Because we take that for granted every day, and we forget about all those who came before us that fought for our education. Absolutely. And so it is very pivotal, you know, the education is for our foundation. And so set a foundation, recognize what your talents are, and if you can't recognize them, have somebody help you to find out what those talents are, because you don't have to work a job. You don't have to work for somebody, but you can take those talents and you can create something very wonderful for your life and your path.
All right. With that being said, once again, I thank you ladies so much for coming in the house today of AM 1310 The Light and sharing all of the inner beauty to all of our fans. And once again, thank everybody who tuned in with us live on air and also in virtual land on Facebook at Insight Sundays. And we will check you guys out next week.